Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, testing.
CieloDrive.com Audio Archives.
Then he was brought back down here around December the 9th, and you went up to the county jail to see him.
First I went with Bruce to the city jail, and then we went to the county. I would take Bruce and introduce him to Charlie and see if he needed a lawyer or anything.
What impression did you get of Charlie when you talked to him here in the county jail?
Well, it's mixed. Like he's still the con man, but then he still is someone that I knew who's in jail.
Well, does he appear to you to have all of his marbles?
I am not qualified.
Well, yeah, you've taken a lot of psychology courses, haven't you?
But see, now this is my opinion. Like, I disagree with a lot of psychologists.
Oh.
And so I don't feel that I'm qualified to...
Well, the thing is this, just like Jimmy Durante used to say, he says, I think I'm handsome, but what's my attitude compared to 40,000 other people, you know? I mean, what's your attitude of them? Except for being, quote, anti-establishment, is there anything else that appears to be away from normal for him? Now, you may not think being anti-establishment is away from normal, but...
well, it's like you get into a definition of normal. And so Charlie he's still Charlie, I guess.
Now, the songs that he used to sing out there, any of the words make any sense to you, or did they made sense to you? Do you remember what some of the songs were, or anything like that?
No, he never sang. Like, when I would go, our meetings we would talk. When he would get, like, where he was at, if it became just too much arguing or bickering or something, he would come and just be quiet and talk. And he never sang many. I never heard him sing many songs.
Mm-hmm. And when did you move into Chandler Blvd?
Oh, around September. It was right after I got married this year.
Oh, you're married now?
Yes.
Do you live out there with your wife now?
Yes.
And this Mr. Kaufman, does he live out there too?
Yes. There's 2 houses.
2 houses. And do the girls still live there that are like
no.
Sandra Pugh?
No. No.
Yes? Can I help you?
Desperate.
Mr. Facuto will help you, Jim.
They were next door, but they move. I don't know. They're so goofy, and they say so many different things, and they don't like me too.
They don't like you?
Well, because see, if you live in the city, and then I go to school, and I have degrees, and I have a big bookshelf with a lot of books, and so I'm just.
Well, now, which of the girls there strike you as being the closest to normal? Is it Sandra Pugh or Lynn Fromm?
Well, when we go into the thing of normalcy, like, to me, Sandra Pugh is a little rich girl who's treating this whole thing as though it's an afternoon tea. Lynn Fromm is very concerned and trying to do things. This other one, Gypsy, is trying to be another Susan Atkins.
Well, Gypsy seems to be quite intelligent when you talk to her. She seems like she had good schooling, and she had a good job at one time. And how the hell she keeps, saying, "Oh no, Charlie's not like that. He would kill himself before he'd kill anybody else." How could she keep saying that?
Well, see now, to me, Charlie is a lot of things, but he's not stupid. And this whole affair is a stupid affair. So there's parts in this whole thing from reading like Susan Atkins' story in the paper that sound like Charlie, but then it doesn't. I mean, Susan Atkins is, She just, like, to me, she was a pathological liar.
All right, did you ever meet Susan Atkins at your house?
Yeah.
All right. When you met her at your house, this was on Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
How did she seem at that time?
Just, she wanted to be like a Charlie. I think she has a castration complex. And she wanted to be a Charlie. And she was always very authoritarian and telling, like, fantastic stories. Like, she'd always tell you a different story of what she was.
Well, maybe this is the reason why the girls, when Susan Atkins told the girls what had happened at the Tate house, maybe that's the reason they didn't believe it. You know, she had told this story to other members of the family.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. And now...
They don't talk about any of that.
Now that we're interviewing some of the other girls of the family, they all say, oh yeah, Susan told us this way back in September when we were living here and we were living there, but Susan was always making up big stories.
Yeah.
What other stories do you remember her saying?
Oh, she told me she was a beauty contest winner and a go-go dancer and a prostitute and a bar girl and a movie star and a singer. Just something different every time.
All right, now, back in the time that you met Susan, you said that was at your house. Was Watson with them, to your knowledge?
I didn't,
like 50 people
Watkins
walk in.
And Watson and all the males, I don't know any of them because they were, like, my association with them wasn't that deep. And it wasn't just, and when I...
But Susan, you remember being at your house?
Yeah.
What about Mary Bruner? Do you remember her being at your house?
Mary.
Let me show you. Her name was Mary, and she had a little baby.
Oh, yes. She was there, yeah.
Well, what about this girl, Patricia Krenwinkel? Was she at your house?
Once, yeah.
And was this, to your knowledge, it's about the same time that the...
They were all there that night. They, like, Krenwinkel and Mary, all these people were together the night they spent the night at the house.
Oh, you mean the very first time?
First time.
The first time when they said that they had to move out of the place at Topanga?
And then into another, yeah.
And did they just spend that one night, or did it go over
that
to...
one night, no. Just
And
one night.
do you remember what kind of a car they used to get there or anything like that?
I helped them take part of their stuff in my car, and I think they had a little Falcon station wagon.
And you remember where you moved them to?
Back in Topanga Canyon.
Now, this is a girl you recognize her as from.
Yeah.
And you've seen her on Chandler,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know this may feel like to you that betraying a confidence that, after all, you've loaned Charlie some money or given him some money just recently.
Well,
just
recently, I loaned him $200. This was in '68.
Well, what about, say, within the last, since December when he got in trouble, didn't you send him some money?
$2, $3.
$2, $3 for cigarette money. And sometimes when people do that, they have a feeling of friendship. Do you...
Oh, no, I don't. I don't feel I'm betraying anything.
Okay, all right. Has Lynn told you what she's doing, contacting all these people and trying to get them the same lawyer or anything like that?
Oh, their business is so confused, and so many people are making offers and trying to just hustle them and con them and slick them, and they're just running around, just goofy.
Now, you have no financial interest with him or anything like that? This family jams of records or anything like that?
Possible that he might.
He possibly might be.
He doesn't at present. He may develop something.
But Lynn Frome hasn't told you what Charlie's going to use as a defense. He's not going to deny being there or anything like that.
I haven't talked to any of his defense.
All right, now, this girl, Gypsy, Minette there...
the first time I met her is when she came down.
And this girl, Sandra Collins Good, this is the one we call Pugh, huh? Sandra Pugh, here she is.
Yeah.
Now, you say she's like a rich kid. Did she say where her money's coming from or anything?
Her parents.
Did she say where her parents are or anything?
Somewhere in California, I'm not sure.
Right, now, did you ever see Charlie when he looked like that?
Yeah.
And when you met him back in 68, did he have a beard or did he look
No,
like
he Well, about that long, but he would cut his hair, and then he'd start to grow a goatee, and then he'd shave. And...
Now, this is another picture of Gypsy.
Yeah.
Now, this girl here, Nancy Pittman, she been staying out at Chandler with you too?
Next door, yeah. They run the house next door.
When you say next door, there's a front house and a back house, right? When you say next door.
Next door.
Which one do you live in, the front house or the back
I
house?
live in the back house, and they rented the house.
In the front?
No, next on a different. A different in the next lot. They're not even on the same lot.
Well, as of a couple of weeks ago, there was still Christmas tree lights on one house. Was that the house that you were living in?
I know. I live in that.
Back.
Front house.
Who lives in the front house? Phil Cotton. And these girls rented the house. Would that be the one closest to Laurel King?
Yeah, no, towards Coldwater, yeah.
The one closest to Coldwater.
On the, I guess, east side. Like, they were there, and we didn't want them to stay with us, so this house next door was for rent.
Do you know who's supplying the bread for that rent?
I think Phil's.
Now, these two pictures are the same girl, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you met Krenwinkel, did she say to you anything strange that make you think that there was anything wrong with her?
No, it's like I never talked too much to the girls. I didn't know the girls very well. And,
was she considered more or less the odd one or the ugly duckling or anything like that you can remember?
No.
All right, this is Ruth Ann Smith. Do you know what her true name is or where she is now? And are the girls still living next door to you on Chandler now?
Well, there's one says yes, one says no, and somebody else says something else. But most of their stuff is left, and I think they're all back out at Spawns Ranch.
Now, did you ever know anyone by the nickname TJ?
No.
And did you ever visit Charlie when he was way out in the desert, say either at Olanchi or up at Gola Wash?
Like I didn't know. When I came back, I made no effort to see him. I didn't know where he was
at. And when you talk to him in jail now, you spend the usual 20 minutes that the visitor has?
Yeah.
What generally did you talk about?
Just nonsense things, like going in, I guess, trying to take his mind off it, or just give him a break. I guess there's so many people coming in to see him and saying things to him, just sit and talk.
He didn't tell you to be on the lookout for anybody or
no.
do anything for him, like go out to any of the caves or hide anything for him or anything like that?
No.
Now this girl here, you recognize her?
No.
And this fella here, you recognize him at all?
No.
Now, with respect to the time that they were at your house, that one night that you remember, and a couple of times later after that they came, would they come by way of invitation or did they just drop in?
Once or twice I think they just, Charlie by himself dropped in, and a couple of times I think he called. And
was there ever any discussion by Charlie with anyone else, or perhaps with you, that rich people live next door, or the people live next door are quite loaded, or they own a market, or anything like that?
No. Because as I said, I thought next door was vacant or too.
Well, you knew that big estate where the wall is around, that some rich people had to live there. To be able to pay the taxes, you'd have to be rich, right?
Up there, he has his own street lights.
When was it that you looked like this?
That's when I came back from
the Peace Corps?
Africa.
And did Charlie ever tell you what, laugh to you, how the police are running around chasing myths or anything of that nature with respect to this Shorty Shea?
No. I haven't talked to him about anything concerning the trial or anything.
Can you think of anything that you might, any impression that you might have gotten, say either from reading the details of the Hinman murder or the details of the Tate murder, that might help us in trying to separate truth from fiction?
The Hinman, I don't know anything about.
Well, this was a musician that lived out in Malibu, and according to very reliable evidence, very, very reliable evidence, Charlie Manson and this fellow Bobby Beausoleil, I'll show you Bobby's picture. Went out
I
to,
saw him on the news.
yeah, they went out to, here's Bobby's picture. And here's another one of your friends. I'll blow it up to 9x7 if you want it for your gallery.
Okay.
You get to autograph it for you.
I'm a historian. Oh, that's worth money.
According to very reliable information, not Susan Atkins at all, Bobby Beausoleil, Manson, Mary Bruner, and Susan Atkins went out to Hinman's house. This was in the middle of July of 1969, around July 25th, rather. Said to Gary, he says, "We know you've got $20,000. We want the money." He says, "You can have anything you want. I'm a friend of yours. I'll give you my cars. I'll give you any furniture. I'll give you any clothes, but I just don't have anything here like $20,000. So Charlie took a big sword and cut off his ear. And he couldn't hear very well after that. Mr. Hinman couldn't, and he cried and cried, "Please let me go, please let me go." And Charlie said to him, "If you don't tell us where the money is, you'll never live another day." And Charlie left the house there, and went back to the ranch. And a couple hours later, Mr. Beausoleil drove the two girls back to the ranch in Hinman's car. And luckily for Beausoleil, he was arrested on August the 6th, 1969 in San Jose, driving Hinman's Toyota. And when the highway patrolman stopped him, they asked him where he got the car, and he says, "Oh, Hinman gave it to him. It was a gift." Beausoleil's fingerprint was found at Hinman's residence. The knife that fit into the cuts that were used, and they have plastic casts of the cuts, and they have plastic casts of the knife, match perfectly. The knife was found in the car that Beausoleil was driving, and we have now very good evidence that Beausoleil cut this man about 14, 15 times, trying to get him to tell where the money was. This, of course, put a great deal of fear into Susan Atkins and Mary Bruner, seeing this horrible thing occur. And they went out there, and when Mary Bruner was arrested on August the 8th, the same day as Sharon Tate was killed, but she was arrested in the afternoon, so she couldn't have been in on it. Sandra Pugh was arrested with Mary Bruner, and she wasn't released until August the 12th, so she couldn't have been in on it.
You're talking about the Tate matter.
Tate matter. And of course, we've got Watson's fingerprints, and we've got Patricia Krenwinkel's fingerprints at the Tate residence. Now, Susan Atkins, of course, tells us what happened at the Tate residence, and she says that Charlie ordered them to go up there and rob and kill. And Watson was the lieutenant that carried out the orders of the general. Now, I can't imagine yourself, let's say if you were in Watson's position, listening to Charlie like that.
Thank you. This is the part that doesn't, like, Charlie wasn't that way, because I can't see Charlie stealing, because he was, like I say, the con man who usually got, like, people would give him things.
Well, we know that he sent these girls out with these stolen credit cards to buy these things on these stolen credit cards. We know that had been going on for a whole month.
Well, like this, all this is like,
yeah, well,
when I first came, it's like, the impression I have is before all this, and it's like in talking with people, I said, that something happened to where all this change came about. Because, I guess, anybody is capable of doing just about anything, because like all crimes that, all human beings commit. So in there, I guess, most of us, the majority of the people in the world have learned how to repress or push off these things which, we say are socially acceptable.
This guy, Thomas Allen here on this picture, have you ever seen him to your knowledge?
I don't think so.
Well, do you have any type of recordings other than music in which Charlie talks about what his future plans for the world are?
No.
And do you know if Charlie ever did record anything, like, we're recording your interview now. Did Charlie ever record anything for you? Anything, like, we're recording your interview, everything is settles down from chaos?
No.
Do you ever know of any particular philosophy that Charlie followed in his way of life?
I think he used a lot of terms and words which I knew he didn't know the meaning or definition of. Like, from him traveling around, I got the impression that he picked up a lot of things, maybe from different people in Haight-Ashbury or around there and down. And then he put them in his repertoire. And would take them, but sometimes they would he'd have them so mixed up and confused that he would contradict himself and things like that. And I thought it was kind of funny. But other than that.
Charlie ever tell you what his plans were for these girls that he had out there at the ranch?
No.
You ever say why he wanted so many girls out there?
Well, I guess it's kind of a dream for the guy, but it's just,
I
don't see how he could do it, because it's just got married, and sometimes one woman's too much.
Well, like, for instance, one of the girls living out there, I won't mention her name because it might get back. She was living at the ranch. She wanted to go home, but did not, as Manson said he would kill her if she left. He further threatened that if she left, he would find her and cut her breasts off. She said she didn't know why she returned to the ranch after she had gone home for a visit because of these threats, but she felt a need to go back to the ranch. What the hell was it out there that here's a girl that say that she was threatened to be killed and yet she went back? What would give you a feeling that she could do that?
I don't know. There's nothing out there for me.
What about Wilson? What do you think Dennis Wilson's interest was in letting Manson take advantage of him like he did?
I understand they did. They recorded one of his songs.
Wilson's songs or Manson recorded?
Manson's one of the songs Charlie wrote. That's all hearsay, just gossip and what they say. But I don't know, you'd look and you say, look what somebody let me use, and I go, well, that's nice. That kind of thing, which to me just like he was But P.T. Barnum does a slick con man to get those kind of things.
Now this fellow Kaufman here, when did he first meet?
I'm not sure. I don't know when he first met.
Okay, Mr. True, yes, Sergeant.
Could you tell me what your major is?
History, medieval history.
You know Leonard Purcell?
No.
Wasn't he the one that was living there? The place that you were
Oh, and back, Leonard, yeah, the lawyer, the son, he epileptic.
Charlie, ever know it?
I don't know. I really don't.
Who went to school with him?
Leonard,
All right. The law school?
Yes. He's still there?
Yes.
I think that's...
Couldn't believe it, but he is.
I understand
Really?
you pulled him under 187 warrant.
why they
I
are.
don't know why. Did you ever hear Charlie mention the thing that if you're ever going to do something, you do it so way out that nobody would ever believe you would do it?
No. It's like I never discussed. I was more interested in listening, being a student. I mean, kind of seeing a phenomenon go by or something. And then I would talk about it with my teachers.
But you don't know if Lenny ever...
I don't. Because it's like the meeting, I don't know. I couldn't say. I really don't.
Okay, Mr. True, listen, thank you very much. If you do move away, you'll keep in touch with Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
and we can reach you through there. What I intend to do is call you as a witness at the trial. I haven't subpoenaed you yet, but we will, and the purpose of your testimony will be merely to show that Manson was familiar with that area, that he had visited you there on these 3 or 4 occasions, and this one particular time that you had in mind that you told us about. And your also identification of the girls that were with them at that time, Susan Atkins and Krenwinkel. Of course, Susan Atkins says that as they were driving around, she asked, where are we going? She says, Harold's house. You remember we had a party there, and that's what they were looking for.
Yeah, I read that in the paper.
If Aaron, if you call him, I'm going to want to be present
Of course.
during his testimony.
Of course. Let's see, I'll let you read the testimony if they gave it to grand jury.
Okay, fine, no problem. Before you call him, Mr. Kaufman, I want to talk to you.
All right, sure.